So, a very good afternoon, class. Today, I will be teaching about alopecia, which is a topic which is very common from the integumentary system, and this class is for BSc second years. So, let's move on with the definition of alopecia. Alopecia is defined as the loss of hair from areas where the hair normally grows. So, when the scalp is when a portion of the scalp where the hair is normally growing, and then suddenly there is loss of hair from that area, then we can call that as alopecia or hair loss. Then hair alopecia can be partial or it can be complete. So a partial meaning that there will be some portion of that the hair will grow, but there will be some portion where there is hair loss or a patch of hair loss. There is no hair growth from that specific area. Then we call it as partial or partial loss of hair or partial baldness. And second is complete baldness, meaning that the whole scalp or the whole the head is there is no growth of hair. That means there is not even a single hair on the scalp. That is called complete baldness or loss of hair. So according to the recent measurements, it indicates that the average rate of hair loss is closer to 30 to 45 hairs per day. Next, also patients taking cancer patients who are taking chemotherapy drugs. So chemotherapy drugs, the one important side effect of chemotherapy drugs is alopecia, that is hair loss. So this alopecia, this degree of alopecia will depend upon the dosage of the drug, how much dose is the chemotherapy drug, or how much is the half-life of the drug, and what is the duration of the therapy. It can be like weeks or months or weeks or years. So depending upon that, the degree of alopecia will take place, and also alopecia will begin after 2 weeks of administration. So after 2 weeks of giving chemotherapy drugs to a patient, 2 weeks after, the patient will have the signs of alopecia, that is hair loss, and the hair regrowth takes about 3 to 5 months after the treatment. Next, like I said, alopecia is absence or loss of hair, especially of the scalp. So coming to the pathophysiology of hair loss, so first is when there is a failure to produce or continue to produce a normal hair follicle. This will lead to a change or aberration of normal hair cycle and the production of normal hair shaft. So if the normal hair follicle is not able to produce normally, then there will be changes in the cycle of the hair. The normal hair cycle will be changed, and also the production of the hair shaft also will be changed. So when this happens, when this hair cycle is changed, or there is some obstruction in the production of the hair shaft, then this can lead to destruction of hair follicle. And when this happens, the hair follicle will not be able to move outward. It will this causing an obstruction for the hair to grow outward. Then this can lead to hair loss. So there is no growth of hair, that means the patient will have alopecia. Next, the causes of alopecia are as follows. Number 1, genetic. It is a genetic disease condition. Number 2, a patient exposed to allergens or irritants, toxins, burns, injuries, and infection. These also can cause alopecia or hair loss. Next, certain medications, especially steroids like testosterone, or medications like chemotherapy drugs. So these also can cause alopecia. Next, patients suffering from chronic renal failure or chronic kidney failure can also be one of the causes for alopecia. Next, radiation, UV rays, or ionizing radiations. So these can cause alopecia as well. And like I said, chemotherapy drugs also can lead to alopecia. Next, patient whose nutritional balance is disrupted, that is malnutrition, not taking proper diet, not taking proper nutrition, and there is less vitamins or minerals in the body, then that also can lead to alopecia. Next, lack of sleep or insomnia, emotional stress, too much of stress, okay, emotional stress or can be any physical stress that also can lead to alopecia, and patients suffering from thyroid problems like hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, where the thyroid profile is abnormal. Okay, so these are some of the causes that can cause alopecia. Next, clinical manifestations. Okay, so like I said, it can be complete, it can be partial. So, pattern, patchy, patch, or a diffuse hair loss is one of the signs and symptoms, and there can be inflammation and scarring with some types. Okay, so if the infection is the main cause of alopecia, then there can be inflammation and there is scarring or scar formations in the scalp. Okay, so that can lead to alopecia. So that is one of the symptoms of alopecia. Next, there are various forms of alopecia and they are as follows: alopecia areata, alopecia totalis, alopecia universalis, alopecia barbae, androgenetic alopecia, and scarring alopecia, which is also known as cicatricial alopecia. So let us see what do you mean by these types of alopecia. So coming to the first type, that is alopecia areata, AA. Alopecia areata, it is an autoimmune condition which causes patchy hair loss. Okay, so it is an autoimmune disease condition where it causes patch. Okay, you can see here this is called a patch. Means like a specific area is being affected, and in this area there is no hair growth. So this is patchy hair loss. So it results in a single bald patch or extensive patchy hair loss. Okay, so this is known as alopecia areata. So let's not forget that alopecia areata is an autoimmune disease condition that can cause patchy hair loss. Next, coming to alopecia totalis. Okay, by the word totalis meaning total, total meaning all over. Okay, the whole of the scalp, there is no hair growth. So alopecia totalis is a more advanced form of alopecia areata. Okay, which results in total loss of all hair on the scalp. So, like I said, alopecia totalis is it is a more advanced form, which is more advanced than the alopecia areata, and it results in the total hair loss. So as you can see, there is no strand of hair also on the scalp of this patient. So this is alopecia totalis. Next, alopecia universalis. Universalis meaning come from the word universal. Universal means all over. Okay, all over the body. So alopecia universalis, it means that it is the most advanced form of alopecia areata, which results in total loss of all hairs on the body. So like eyelashes also are not there, eyebrows are also not there. Okay, so these are a form of alopecia universalis, meaning that uh, every all hairs on the body, okay, like pubic hair or armpit hairs or eyebrows or chest hairs or eyelashes or hairs on the hands and the feet. Okay, so all these will be absent, so there will be no hairs on the body. So this is known as alopecia universalis. Okay, so let's not confuse between alopecia totalis and alopecia universalis. Alopecia totalis meaning that there is no hair growth on the scalp. Okay, whereas alopecia universalis meaning that there is no hair growth all over the body, including the eyelashes, the eyebrows, the armpit hairs, the pubic hairs, chest hairs, or the hairs on the hands and the feet. Next type is alopecia barbae. Alopecia barbae is alopecia areata that is localized into the beard area. So you can see this is the beard. Okay, so this is a patch. Okay, so as you can see here, there is normal hair growth. Okay, there is hairs on the chin of the patient, but there is a patch here that there is no hair. Okay, so this is known as alopecia barbae. That is a patch, okay, or loss of hair in the beard area. It can be a single bald patch or more extensive hair loss across the whole of the beard area. So it can be a single patch. Okay, that means there is only one patch, or there can be two patches here and here. As you can see in this picture, there are two patches. So this is alopecia barbae. Next, coming to androgenic alopecia or AGA. It is also known as male pattern baldness or female pattern baldness. So there is a specific pattern of hair fall or hair loss, okay, in this type of androgenic alopecia. It is thinning of the hair to an almost transparent state in both men or women. Okay, so androgenic alopecia, it is a thinning of the hair and it occurs both in men and women. It is hereditary. In men, in both men and women, it is linked to having an excess of male hormones, androgens, okay, around the hair follicles, which blocks the hair growth. So in androgenic alopecia, it is said that because of too much of androgens, okay, this hormones, the male hormones, which is known as androgens, if it is too much in both men and women, then this androgens will block the hair follicles and therefore the hair will not grow properly. So this is one of the main reasons. And androgenic alopecia is also hereditary. Okay, women are more likely to develop androgenic alopecia after menopause. So women who are affected will develop this type of alopecia after menopause when they have few female hormones. Okay, and most cases of hair loss are due to androgenic alopecia. So approximately among the all types of hair loss, the most common is androgenic alopecia. So as you can see here, this is a pattern. Okay, so this is like a like a pattern here, and here also. So there is hair loss here. In the second picture, there is a patch here. Okay, so this is like a pattern, and then it will spread more and more. So this patch will spread more and more, and then leading to this kind of hair loss. Okay, so this is like a pattern. Okay, and then in females, you can see it starts from the center. Okay, it is thinning, and then it will be more severe, and there will be a patch. Okay, so this is known as androgenic alopecia. Androgenic, remember, androgenic alopecia is hereditary. Okay, meaning it passes from generation to generation, and it occurs both men and in women, and also because of the reason of androgens. Too much of androgens, what will they do? They will block the hair growth. Okay, too much of androgens around the hair follicle will block the hair growth, and in women it occurs mostly after menopause. Next type is scarring alopecia, or known as cicatricial alopecia. Scarring alopecia refers to a group of rare disorders which causes permanent hair loss. Okay, it is a very rare disorder which causes permanent hair loss. It is caused by any inflammatory processes which causes permanent damage to the hair follicles. For example, if there's any infection, okay, bacterial infection, or because of the burns, any burn injury on the head, or because of the autoimmune diseases, therefore there will be an inflammatory process, as you can see here, and because of this inflammation, scarring formation will take place, and this is known as scarring alopecia. Okay, so coming to the treatment, so we have done about the types of the other forms of alopecia. Now coming to the treatment, although hair loss really needs to be treated, many people seek treatment for cosmetic reasons. Okay, suppose people, if people are having no hairs on the eyebrows, or there is no hair, there is no eyelashes, or like there is a patch, then they try to seek for cosmetic reasons. There is no cure for alopecia and no universally proven therapy. Okay, so there is no cure for this specific disease condition, and no universally proven therapy to induce the hair growth. Many cases of hair loss are temporary, for example, due to chemotherapy, or they are natural part of aging and they don't need treatment. So patients who are cancer patients who have taken chemotherapy, okay, so after 3 to 5 months of treatment, the hair will grow back into the normal state. And also in older people, okay, as the age increases, the hair loss also takes place. So this is a normal part of aging, and they don't require treatment at all. If hair loss is caused by any infection or any other condition, then we should treat the problem and prevent hair loss. So if there's any infection, then we will give antibiotics or any other medications. So medical management number one, injection, finasteride. Okay, finasteride 1 mg, and this can be in the form of injection or tablets or cream. So finasteride, it acts by preventing the hormone testosterone which is being converted to hormone dihydrotestosterone. So finasteride, what does it do? It blocks the conversion of normal testosterone. It blocks the conversion of normal testosterone to hormone dihydrotestosterone. Okay, so this finasteride, it is a very simple. The simple action of it is it prevents the conversion of hormone testosterone to hormone dihydrotestosterone. So why does it block the DT? Why does it block the testosterone from forming the DHT? Because DHT causes hair follicles to shrink. So blocking its production allows the hair follicle to regain their normal size. So this is the main reason why we have to block the DHT production. Okay, because it causes the hair follicles to shrink. So when the hair follicles shrink, therefore, so ultimately there is no hair growth. Okay, so that is one of the main reasons. And the balding process usually resumes within 6 to 12 months if treatment is stopped. So if finasteride is stopped, okay, and this balding process, meaning the hair loss, will come back or will start again within 6 to 12 months. So it is very important that the patient will take finasteride on a continuous process. Continuously they have to take the medication and should not stop. If they stopped it, then it means that the hair loss can come back to, then it can come back to the usual state. So finasteride 1 mg film coated tablet. So this is also available in the pharmacy. Next, minoxidil. Minoxidil, as you can see here, this is like a lotion. Okay, it is available as a lotion where we can rub it on the scalp every day. It is not clear how minoxidil works, but evidence suggests that it causes hair regrowth in some men. Okay, so it helps in the hair regrowth. And minoxidil is currently the only medicine available to treat female pattern hair loss or female pattern baldness. So this is very important because it is the only medicine that can treat female pattern baldness, and it causes hair regrowth in some men. Next, corticosteroid injections. It acts by suppressing the immune system. Okay, corticosteroid injections like triamcinolone, okay, acetonide injectable suspension. Okay, it comes in a dosage of 400 mg per 10 ml. Okay, so 10 ml multi-dose vial. So this is given for IM and intra-articular use only. So this injection, what does it do? It acts by suppressing the immune system. Okay, this is helpful or this is useful in alopecia areata because the condition is thought to be caused by the immune system damaging the hair follicles. This medication is given in patients suffering from areata alopecia. Okay, why? Because immune system is the main cause, right, for damaging the hair follicles. So this will suppress the immune system and will allow the hair follicles to grow. So this injection is very important. Next injection is Retin A or tretinoin. Okay, Retin A was originally used for the treatment of acne and other skin problems. As you can see, this is like a cream or an ointment. Okay, so this cream is used basically for acne, okay, or pimples or any other skin problems. But it is shown that Retin A, when used alone in the form of a gel, it is rubbed onto the area of hair loss, or in combination with minoxidil, can result to a moderate to good hair growth in individuals with alopecia. So this retin A in combination with minoxidil. Okay, so when these two are being used together, then it will result to a moderate to good hair growth. So there will be hair growth development in the scalp. Okay, so this retin A is given mainly with minoxidil lotion. Next, other management consists of immunosuppressive drugs, okay, which suppresses the immune system because the alopecia areata is caused by the immune system. Then ultraviolet light treatment. Ultraviolet light also can heal the hair loss. Next, patient can also wear wigs. Okay, wigs are of two types: synthetic wigs, which are made up of acrylic, and real hair wigs. Okay, the real hair, natural hair wigs are also present, so they can use any of these two. Next, coming to the surgical management. Surgical management consists of two types, that is hair transplantation and follicular unit transplantation. So let us see what comes under the hair transplantation. So hair transplantation is a surgical technique that removes hair follicles, okay, from one part of the body, which is also called the donor site, to a bald or balding part of a body known as the recipient site. This technique is primarily used to treat male pattern baldness. So this hair transplantation is commonly used to treat male pattern baldness, okay, or androgenic alopecia, where they remove hair follicles from one part of the body. So from any part of the body where there are hair follicles, good hair growth, they will remove hair follicles from that portion, and then they will put it on they will attach it to transplant it to the scalp, which is known as the recipient site. So this is known as hair transplantation. Next, follicular unit transplantation. It is a hair restoration technique, which is also known as strip procedure, where a patient's hair is transplanted in naturally occurring groups of 1 to 4 hairs known as follicular units. So here the patient's hair is transplanted in another group, okay, which will consist of 1 to 4 hairs, and this is called follicular units. So this is known as follicular unit transplantation. Next, coming to the nursing management. So as a nurse, we have to explain that alopecia areata and the physiological hair loss are usually only temporary, and they are self-limiting. For alopecia due to chemotherapy, assure the client or the patient that the hair will eventually grow back 3 to 5 months after the treatment. Then encourage the patient to verbalize his or fears and body image concerns. Whatever concerns that they are having regarding their body, they can speak out, or they can verbalize it to the nurse. And this concern can be regarding alopecia, or especially if the patient is a teenager or a young adult. So you have to tell them to be open, okay, and they should not have any fear or shyness to their life. Next, for females, encourage them to change their hairstyle or to wear a headpiece or a beautiful headscarf until the hair grows back. Next, counsel the male patients on the slow and limited effects of minoxidil, and stress that when treatment is stopped, the effects are reversed. So we have to counsel the male patients that if the minoxidil lotion is not being applied, if they stop the medication, then the hair loss can resume back to the original state. Then encourage to eat a well-balanced diet, especially rich in proteins and iron, to promote the hair growth. So this is very important. Well-balanced diet should be followed by the patient. Next, promote hair growth by encouraging them to be gentle with their remaining hair, and to always keep their scalp and hair clean. So we have to tell the patient to always maintain their hair and scalp. It should be clean, and they should be gentle with the remaining hair. Okay, so to prevent further hair loss. So that we have come to the end of the topic for today, that is on alopecia. So I have taught you about the definition, Okay, the pathology, the causes why alopecia is happening. Then I've taught you about the signs and symptoms and the types of alopecia, the and the treatment and the surgical management treatment and the nursing management. So I hope it is clear about alopecia. Thank you.